All right, it's another beautiful Saturday morning right here on Afia Sport Show. I am your host for today, the Place of Football, America Madoka, aka Femelo. And you can catch us on the frequencies of channel 254 on DSTV, channel 17 on Go TV, and channel 748 on Free TV. Welcome to the Afia Sports. And I'm not going to be doing this alone today. I'm joined by the beautiful Chama Chikeze Queen, our Queen of Sports. Welcome here today.
Yeah, thank you. It's
All
nice to
right.
do this with you on this side
It's
of
nice to
Afia
always have you
Sports.
on set. You know,
Thank
we always
you.
have that our little drama when we're on the
Yeah.
matter box. Now it's just us today on the sport show.
Yeah.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty for today. We're going to start off with the headlines. Second place, Abia Warriors will be facing a stern test when they travel to the north against Bayelsa United. That's going to be a tasty fixture right there. But looking at the table there, you can see Abia Warriors firmly chasing the top there. And on Bayelsa United, you can see where they are languishing down in the mid-tables of the table. So it might seem on paper relatively easy for them, but it's still going to be a tough test nevertheless. And moving on to the next headline we have for today. It's no shocks that everybody's wrapping up the qualifications for the World Cup. And the draw is set 5th of December. We're going to be doing it there at Washington in US. So everybody's excited. Everybody's waiting to see who is running to what group, who is running to what position. See whether you have chances early on from the group stages or you just accept your fate as it is, like they say. Moving into the next, now we're going to be jumping straight into the Npfl. But before that, we're going to be talking about Nigeria's qualification, how they were able to face off a strong test from our side, Gabon, in the face of there. Then we have our partners that we're going to be facing off against in the finals tomorrow for the qualifiers. Yeah. That's DR Congo. So there's more of that to come. Let's just go straight into our next story. So Npfl is back. Match week 13 fixtures are out, and looking at the table there, looking at DR Congo Rangers and Abia Warriors, I'd like to focus on what's happening in the East. Enugu Rangers with a good result against Remo Stars. I want to get your thoughts on that for a few minutes before we go into Abia Warriors, which is our main concern for today.
Yeah, it was a good outing. No, it was beyond good. It was a fantastic outing. You know, going away from home to the defending champions of the Npfl, talking about Remo Stars, a well-organized side, more like one of the fewest privately owned clubs in the Npfl that are doing quite well for themselves, and picking up all 3 points away for home was massive for Rangers International. And like that was actually the first away win of the season so far. So it tells a lot of work that has been put into the team. It talked about a lot of teamwork. You know, we saw them when they played against Shooting Stars here in Enugu. They were quite an organized side, even though I felt like they needed some rejigging. And it further portrays the importance of the striker, Godwin Obaje, in that team, because we saw what he was able to do when he just coming back from injury, featured in that game against Shooting Stars, and then against Remo Stars. I think he was one that got them that sole goal, and that's quite impressive for the side, as I said earlier on. So it simply means that somehow their season is getting back on track, and you know, hopefully they could do something good. And I know some persons will argue also that, oh, Remo Stars have been struggling so far this season.
Yeah, I wanted to actually get to that.
All of those, but no matter how much a team is struggling, at least it's a home game. You have the home advantage and all. Some persons would have said, okay, considering the struggle, you should have at least come up with a draw. But losing all 3 points to Rangers, it simply means that there was something Rangers did, and that was back to what the assistant coach said the last time they played at home. That was against Shooting Stars. He did say that they were going to look out for the game against Remo Stars. They were going away, so they had to, you know, do their job. Why I knew that it was going to be a very good one for Rangers. The Shooting Stars they defeated last season, defeated them home and away. So they came back this time around and they defeated Shooting Stars. So I felt like that morale was high for them going into the game against Remo Stars, and they were able to get all 3 points against Remo Stars. Kudos to Rangers International, but I think Remo Stars still have a lot of work to do so far this season. They are no longer in the continent where I would say, oh yeah, they are being
have the
distracted
distractions from
and
there,
all
yeah.
of those. But this time around, you're focused solely on the MPFL. And I know, again, some persons will also argue that, oh, the psychological effect of losing out the way they lost in the CAF Champions League was actually, or will be affecting them. But I mean, this is football, and
Yeah, I mean,
you
we've
just
seen
have
that in
to
football where you crash out of major tournaments and it has this psychological effect on the team.
yeah.
But as professionals, you stay tuned and you stay in front of what you focus on what's in front of you,
True,
rather.
true.
But you've seen it in past times when a team wins the NPFL, then the next season they struggle to get form. They go through a horrendous season. I mean, we saw it with Rangers after winning their eighth title, yeah, rather.
Yeah.
So it's not something new in the NPFL when to see a defending champion struggle.
And I'm looking out for that very team that would break that jinx. And I think the only thing that I've done it so far, aside Enyimba in past years, in the 2004s and all of those,
Yes.
I think the only thing that is Rivers United. The season Rivers United won the MPFL championship, it's true they did not defend it successfully, but they ended up still being at the continent. They didn't fall out of the top four. And I'm still looking out for a team that would actually do that. Even though you do not, successfully defend your title, but you should be in. You shouldn't just fall away. Like, you shouldn't be in the conversation. They should look at, oh yeah, there's a likelihood that they would be able to. Oh, they are
maybe
at
a
least
solid second, maybe a third.
Solid second, a third. I mean, be in that rank that, okay, you're going to be at the continent at the end of the day. But so far, I think the MPFL side keeps struggling about this, and for me, I feel it's down to the competitiveness of the club and probably maybe the psychology of the kind of experience you have out there when you go for the continental championships and all. But really, Remo Stars, like I said, they are more like the most organized side in the MPFL. I didn't expect them to be having this kind of struggles at this time of the day of the league. But let's see how it goes. It's still early days, match week 13. We still have about 25 more matches to go.
So
hopefully,
just before we round up these conversations on the MPFL, yeah, I want to get your thoughts on Abia Warriors. So far, they've been quite impressive this season, and I mean, second on the table is not an easy feat.
Of course.
Even though, yeah, you might say it's early days and just 12 games down, yeah, they are on second in the table with 1 point off the top of the table. But we've seen this with teams maybe starting off good and maybe towards the end of the season, they get some things wrong and they fall out of some few places. Do you think Abia Warriors are red hot on form, or do you think this is just early days? Maybe they might still drop down the table or something.
Abia Warriors this season is one of those teams that we really need to look at for, because not just with what they're doing on the pitch of play. Over time, Abia Warriors have always been in the conversation. They've not really struggled for a very long time, and they've not seen them struggling to beat relegation and all.
Yes.
They've always been within the conversation of, okay, they might make it to the continent, they might not, always missing out on slim chances. And considering the man in charge right now, Imama Mapakapo, one of the veteran coaches in the MPFL, one of the very grounded, experienced coaches in the MPFL, and he has won the league before. I think he won it with one of the side, either of Bayelsa United or one of those MPFL sides. So he understands what it means, and the way his team plays, they are just a beauty to watch. And they've also gone away from home to also pick up 3 points, pick up draws and all. That's to tell you, that's what a team that is out to make the most of their season. That's what they do. They seize every opportunity and then they create the chances. Let's see how it goes. A whole lot is happening. We've seen the Nasarawa United also busting into the scene and getting to be table toppers at the moment.
Yes.
But then maybe when we get to match week 15 to match week 16 and 20, then we can begin to say, okay, yeah,
so
this
we
is
should
it.
give them 3 more game weeks.
But the truth be told, the MPFL that I've seen over time, whichever team is between first, second, and third at this time, it is always very difficult for them not to
stay within
those positions at the end of the season.
So one last question on Abia Warriors. Potential title contenders or potential title holders?
Looking at the way the thing is going right now, Enyimba is not in their best of form.
Yes.
Remo Stars is currently struggling. Rivers United happens to be the only big team that is kind of doing, trying to, put out their
In the
name there.
conversation, there is
Although
also Rangers, who
that's
just
what I'm
4 points
saying.
off
Yeah, off the
top of the
top of the
table.
table, which also for Rivers United, if I come to Rangers, they still have an intercontinental championship to kind of distract them somehow. Rangers also is around the corner, and all. I feel like Abia Warriors will definitely be in the conversation for
The NPFL
NPFL title contenders. Same as I see for Rangers International, because, like I said, the teams that would have been an issue to them are currently struggling. So these two teams could actually take their chances and shoot their shot at the title at the end of the season.
If I'm getting you right, maybe a Nassau United could eventually drop off the top out and
Of
maybe see
course.
Rangers and Abia Warriors.
Of course. I mean, most times we saw what was this, even Shooting Stars last season. There was a time they were red hot, they were just there at second position, third position. At the end of the season, we saw where
but another thing we're not really talking about is Ikorodu City, Abia Boys. They're hanging in there in third place.
Ikorodu City have actually been quite impressive since they got promoted. But okay, like I said for Remo Stars, when they got promoted initially, they started well, and then they went on that way like that until they finally won the league last season. And the same thing for the Oga Boys, Ikorodu City. They've been quite impressive so far, but I think it's still early days. Maybe not too distant, a fourth or fifth at the end of the season. But trust me, when the season hits hard, they might not be able to sustain it that much.
All right, we shall only see when it reaches. I mean, this is game week 13 we're entering. Maybe by game week 20, we will know how the standings might look towards the ending of the table.
True.
But just before we go on a quick break now, we have to talk about our dear Super Eagles. And yes, everybody's still basking in the euphoria of the qualifications for the finals and the playoffs. And I want to ask the man of the hour, Victor Osimhen. I've seen quite a few posts from you posting on your socials about Osimhen. But I want to get thoughts about it, because currently Victor Osimhen is only 6 goals behind Rashidi Yakini.
Yeah.
And I want to know, is it a matter of if or when he's going to surpass Rashidi Yakini?
It's just a matter of when. It's just a matter of how long should we wait for it to happen. It's just a matter of how many matches will it take. Because if we go by what Victor Osimhen is currently doing, in 2 matches, he has scored 5 goals for Nigeria. 3 against Benin Republic, 2 against, what's their name now? Gabon. We have DR Congo tomorrow. And I know Victor Osimhen will score, if not for anything.
That's the statistics right there.
I mean, yes, the statistics.
Those are the goals for Super Eagles. There are 1 goal against Ukraine there, 3 against Lesotho, 4 against Sierra Leone. He has 2 against Cape Verde. He has 1 against Central Republic of Africa. He has Liberia, 1 goal there. He has 7 against Sao Tome, 1 against Equatorial Guinea, 5 against Benin Republic. He has 3 against Rwanda and just 1 against Zimbabwe there. I think that says a lot about what Osimhen has been doing when it comes to the Super Eagles.
Of course, and man has a monster mentality. I mean, you don't miss that crucial opportunity against Gabon and come back in extra time to score 2 extra goals. It's massive. So I feel like it's just a matter of how long. Personally, I feel like he will surpass that feat before the end of the year. By the time we get into the AFCON proper, which is by December 21st, actually, in the first 3 matches of the group stage, I'm sure Victor Osimhen will surpass this feat. And he is just 26. He still has so much to play for the Super Eagles. Rashidi Yakini, and he will even do it quicker than Rashidi Yakini did it. I think Rashidi did it in 60-something matches. And Victor has played about 44 or 45 matches for the Super Eagles. Yes. Before he will get up to 50 matches for the Super Eagles, Victor should be looking at 40 goals for the Super Eagles.
I mean, it's only a matter of when, like you said. He seems to be on red hot form, not just for club, but for country as well. Too. I mean, he's been hitting it for Galatasaray this season, and the same thing for the Super Eagles. But now I want to ask, aside the Super Eagles qualifying for the finals, we have to also look at our opponents as well.
True.
DR Congo. Yes, you will say it's just a solitary goal. Some will say it was lucky from that late free kick that was given in the 90min+2 there. But I mean, you have to utilize the chances that come to you. And the captain stepped up and became the man of the moment for the team there, Chancellor Mbemba. Now, I want to ask, you've seen some of these players in Europe, how they perform for their teams. I mean, you've seen the likes of Yohan Wissa, you've seen Wan Bissaka, you've seen even the man who stepped up, Chancellor Mbemba. Now, are we to be worried about this DR Congo side? Should we go there with a fear factor, or should we go there with a game plan that, okay, no matter what happens, we're just going to go there, stick to a game plan and do it? What are your thoughts on that match?
Well, you know, I've actually seen a lot of posts from a lot of persons online and all of those fear factor. But I feel like if Nigeria is playing against a team that is below the tier 1 in African continent, it doesn't matter what your players are playing, where they are playing in Europe. There's a unique thing about African football.
Yes.
That's why you see most players who do so well in Europe, they come back to the African scene and they find it difficult to make their mark. Say, for instance, nobody would believe that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang would have 0-0-0 across board against Super Eagles. That's because a player like Frederick was there to, marshal him out and all of those. And I feel like that is what Eric Chell have been able to do so far. He has been able to maximize his strength while also bringing a lot of upgrade to his weakness, which is the defense and the midfield. So he has been able to, get these players, like brought in the likes of Frederick, brought back Ejuke into the team, brought back Awaziem, who also came in as a substitute and also got an assist for Osimhen and all. So I feel like you understand what it means. Yes, I know the DR Congo side, they are quite a side, and since 1974, they've not been at the World Cup. In fact, since they became DR Congo, they've not been at the World Cup. So it will be a fight to finish, and the motivation they got from their president also will also be a factor against Nigeria. But be it as it may, I saw the game against Nigeria and Gabon. While a lot of persons were talking about being slow and all, I felt like, yeah, the lack of training due to the boycott actually affected them in the first half. But now that they've had time to train, trust me, it will be a different Super Eagles from what we saw.
Hopefully.
And I really am not disrespect to DR Congo, but I am not giving them a chance against Nigeria.
Really?
Yes,
Because
Anguissa is doing so well. Wan Bissaka, what a fantastic, in fact, if you ask me, it's one of the defenders I rate so high in Europe and in EPL. But I mean, he's also going to be facing his colleagues in the EPL, the likes of Calvin Bassey and all of them are there.
There's
so
just
for me, I
one
feel
thing
like
I want to ask you. Okay, you say we shouldn't be too afraid of this DR Congo side.
Yeah.
But given the last 3 games that we've played, stretching far back as 2015, which was 10 years ago, that was a draw where we actually took the lead through Ekon, and they had an equalizer through Moyongo. Now, stretching far back to 2005, which was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, that game, Nigeria actually lost that game, 2-0 to DR Congo. Stretching back to the game previously before that, Nigeria also lost again, 2-0. So, in the last 3 games, we haven't really been good against
DR Congo. That's correct. But then, and you look at the set of players then, and the set of players now. You look at the manager at that time. At that time, for instance, the latest, which was the last about 10 years ago, we were even asking, why are we not scoring goals? We had deficiency with goal scoring, which has stretched up until the introduction of Eric Chell, where we've seen our team score 4 goals, 3 goals, and more, and thereabout. So that's the thing I have actually seen with the Eric Chell side. He has structured his team in a way, let's try not to concede and let's score more. So even if we concede, we have goals, let us score the opener. And I think that's what will play out for this. If DR Congo, see, the truth is, the game against Cameroon and DR Congo, I watched that game and I'm thinking, if the key players of Cameroon were not injured, because quite a number of their key players were out injured, if those players were not injured, trust me, DR Congo might not have had a chance against them. So I feel like all things being equal, the boys just know what is at stake. It just has to be Nigeria. They just have to see this one off. This is more like a very crucial moment. Taking into account their pull-out, their strike, and all of those, they just know that it is now or never. It is win or nothing. And so I think just like it happened with Congo, Gabon, sorry, but it's DR Congo wouldn't be having this one
So
against
just
the
before
Super
we go on a
Eagles.
short break, score lines for tomorrow by 8 p.m.
Initially I predicted Gabon 2-1, but they shocked me.
I
So
did
I'm
two
going to
extra
put
goals.
it up higher. Victor Osimhen is going to score a hat-trick in my prediction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Maybe it's just going to be a 3-1
Okay.
in favor of Nigeria.
All right. Well, tomorrow is a special day that we're all waiting for. 8 p.m. tomorrow at Morocco. We're all going to be waiting for that game against Nigeria versus the Republic of Congo. So stay tuned for more on this. Don't touch that dial. Back after this break. Alright, you're welcome back here on the Afia Sport Show. I still remain your Bristol football Nakamedoke, your host for today, and I'm still here with Queen Chema Chigeze, our Queen of Sports. And we've been having some quite interesting conversations about the Super Eagles and tomorrow's playoffs and all that is going to be going down in Morocco by 8 p.m. She's giving her predictions, the 3-1. She's saying Osimhen hat-trick. Well, by tomorrow, when it's done and dusted, we will know whether her predictions will come to pass. Well, from her lips to God's ears, we hope.
It's going to happen because I told someone, it's just
Yeah.
that most times I don't put my prediction out there in public. I told someone when I was watching the game against Gabon, Victor Osimhen is going to score 2 goals. And he scored 2 goals. I made a post and someone was like, oh, because I nicknamed him Zorro of Africa. The Zorro of Africa. He's like, oh, Zorro never scored. I say, by the time I saw it, Victor had already scored 2 goals. I'm like, you would have just been patient and wait until 90 minutes.
Don't be
Zorro
too quick to
doesn't
hash the
disappoint. So yeah, Victor Osimhen, hardly he disappoints. And I am sure he's one player that knows what is at stake. So he scored 2 against Gabon. Against DR Congo, it's going to be a hat-trick.
Okay, well, we wait to see till tomorrow. I mean, by 8 p.m., we will know whether he's going to be on that red-hot form to score the hat-trick or not. But moving away from the African scene, we have to now go to the European scene. And a lot has gone down this week. A lot of drama at both ends of the tables in qualification games. I mean, we saw some news regarding Portugal, France as well qualifying, taking the top spot after doing away with Ukraine 4-0 there. Mbappe scoring his 400 career goal there in that game with a hat-trick, while Olise getting a goal there. The 3 Lions, England getting a win there, 2-0. Eberechi Eze and Bukayo Saka booking their spot for them in the World Cup there. You saw teams like Croatia as well qualifying. The man Luka Modric, the midfield maestro, giving a couple of assists right there to make sure his side do away with a 3-1 win there. And you've seen quite a lot of countries, African countries and the rest of the world there. We've seen the qualified teams there. Obviously the hosts, USA, Mexico and Canada are there. We have the likes of Japan, Iraq, South Korea. South Korea. We have Australia, we have Qatar, we have Azerbaijan, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Jordan, we have Morocco, we have Senegal, we have Egypt, we have Algeria, Ivory Coast, Tunisia, South Africa, Cape Verde and Ghana are all qualified from the African scene. You see there are still some spaces out there to be fixed for the European sports there. For the CONMEBOL side, we have Argentina, we have Brazil, we have Colombia, Uruguay, Ecuador, Paraguay. Then we have New Zealand, we have England, we have France already booked their spots there. The rest of UEFA coefficients is saying they're lined up. Then we have the 2 spots for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Whoever wins the playoff Inter-confederal tournament and the runners-up as well will meet those 2 playoff spots. Now, it's all coming down to the wire. 29 out of 48 have qualified. Or whether will you call it 30 because Croatia just confirmed their own yesterday. Now, I want to get your few thoughts about one game in particular, and that's the Portugal game. Now, we saw Portugal lose that game 2-0 to a Troy Parrott brace there.
Yeah.
And there was some other big vocal talking points there, the Cristiano Ronaldo theatrics that got him sent off there. And I want to get your thoughts about what Ronaldo did wrong there on the night and how his game really affected the Portuguese side there.
Well, I feel like for the Portuguese national team on the night, it wasn't their night. And yeah, I know a lot of persons will come out to say, oh, he's a big player, he should have been more cautious, he should have been this, he should have been that, and all. We know the passion that comes in when you're playing for your national team, especially for players like Cristiano Ronaldo, who carry the national team. It's just like Victor Osimhen most times. And you could see the tackle and on Cristiano Ronaldo on the night, and all of the attention that the players was putting on him. And I feel like maybe his emotions got a better part of him, yeah, and then he reacted in the way he did.
Yeah,
and then
taunting
because
the
I mean
fans
taunting
there.
the fans and all. It's just that most times when you have passion for certain things, it has a way of having some impact that most times you react in a way that it's actually not expected of you. And I think that's what played out there. But kudos to the Republic of Ireland for that impressive win against the Portuguese national team. It wasn't expected, like it wasn't what most people expected, but
Yes.
that's football for you. Nothing is cast in stone. But the good thing is that the Portuguese national team still have a chance, to qualification.
Yeah, when they
but
face
when they
off
face off
Armenia, yeah.
tomorrow. So hopefully they get it done for Cristiano Ronaldo, who will be missing if they qualify the first game.
So that is what I wanted to actually bring to the notice of the public now.
Yes.
Cristiano, due to his theatrics yesterday, after taunting the fans, and as they say, what goes around comes around. As they gave him the red card, the Republic Island fans taunting him back with the textures and all that. Now he's going to be thinking about two things. Now, I was given a red card there, which means automatically I'm missing the game against Armenia tomorrow, which has always been a sweet bogey thing for him. I mean, he's got a lot of goals against Armenia there. And now he's going to be kicking himself that he's not going to be able to add to his goal tally now that he's chasing 1,000 goals. So it's going to be kicking him on that aspect that he's not going to be able to use Armenia to get more goals like he's used in the past. And there's a potential case of him missing out the first games of the World Cup. So true. I mean, these are things he needs to consider before he gets himself all highly emotional.
Most times, things happen and you just do not have control over it, and it just has to happen, and all of those. But this, let's also put it out there that this is first international red card. This is the first time he's been, sent off in a Portuguese national team shirt. So that's to tell you his level of discipline, so to say. But it happens. It happens once. It happens to the best of people, and most times it's just for him to like, okay. And then don't forget, age is also catching up with him, and most times these things just happen that, oh yeah, you don't have control over it. But I think right now he will just be, supporting the team from behind, supporting, although he's been excluded from the team squad against Armenia tomorrow. So probably he'll be supporting them from behind, sending words of encouragement, and somehow the teams would want to do it for him and then get them that tickets to the World Cup. But hopefully we'll see what happens from there. But then, it is what it is. He's not going to be playing against Armenia tomorrow, but it will still not stop the goal tally, because I mean, the club side football will return soon, and he will still have maybe chances in the future if Portugal finally qualify for the World Cup.
Oh, I mean, it's all down to the last day in the qualification zones there. I mean, everybody has to do what they have to do. Now, for countries like England, France, Croatia, they can all kick back and relax because they've already booked their tickets for the World Cup. All they need to do is just go in there and show good performances. It's not a do or die affair anymore. It's not a must win again.
The only thing for England is that they would be thinking, okay, let's just make history, win all qualifiers matches without losing anyone, and all that would just be history. Else, everything is already done and dusted for England and the other teams. But I have my worry. I mean,
life under Tuchel has been really good for England.
Of course, really very good. But I have my worry for teams like the Sweden, where we have Isak and Gyökeres. I mean, how can a player like, and let me not conclude actually until we finish the game tomorrow and see what happens. But it would really be bad that the World Cup will not witness a striker and a powerful midfielder like Gyökeres and Isak.
Another big giant when it comes to the international scene has to be Italy, and they too will be looking to have destiny in their own hands against Norway on the last day. But it kind of seems like it's an impossible task to do, because Norway going into that last game are first on the table, Italy are second, and based on points and goal tallies on the goal difference. Now, if Italy should win the game, they would be tied on point with Norway, 21 apiece. But here's the difference. they would have to score a 9-goal
Goal.
clean sheet against Norway. And this is a
more like
Norwegian side that
impossible.
has been red hot with scoring goals. I mean, Erling Haaland, Alexander Osimhen has been good. I mean, before the injury to Odegaard, he was giving a good number of goal contributions there. I mean, there are also other stars that have stepped up for the Norwegian side as well. So this is going to be a tough ask for Italy going into that game. Could they go level on points with Norway? That's a possibility of that.
Of
but
course.
them getting 9
9
goals
goals.
against the Norwegian side is something too big to ourselves.
It's going to be very difficult for the Italian national team, and I think was it the Euros or where not Macedonia stopped them from qualifying, or still the
Yes, it was not Macedonia. Yes.
yeah, that stopped them from qualifying, and again they are in this precarious situation. It's going to be a very dicey situation. The man Erling Haaland is one powerful striker. I mean, why is he happening to strikers this era that we wouldn't have the joy of seeing really powerful strikers face off against each other at the world stage? It would have been beautiful seeing Gyökeres, Erling Haaland, Victor Osimhen, name some of the big strikers, Kylian Mbappe and all of those at the World Cup, Harry Kane and all at the World Cup, slugging it out for their different nations and all. But it is what it is. It's going to be very difficult for Italy because Erling Haaland and Norway, they are not backing down. And even if they win...
So I have to say something about this Norwegian team. It seems like most countries have underestimated Norway in this tournament. And Norway now have one of the best strikers in the world, and I'm talking about Erling Haaland and Solot.
Yeah.
These are 2 powerhouses for their teams. I mean, these are talismans for their sides as well.
True.
So taking this type of brute force into the World Cup, that is something I feel many countries should watch out for in the World Cup.
Yes, if they eventually make it to the World Cup, I think the countries will have eyes on them. The reason why they had it maybe somewhat rosy with the qualifiers is because, I mean, for some persons, they will, it's Norway now. Who is there? You just pinpoint Erling Haaland, maybe Odegaard, and Solot. And everyone like, oh, no, don't worry. But right now, with what they have done, they've already opened the eyes of the world like, oh, okay, this is what these people are about. And I feel like it's going to be a very cagey situation for them if they get into the World Cup. But let's see how it goes. Erling Haaland has proven time and again that he's a fantastic goal scorer. He might not be so much of a team player, but you see those chances when you provide it for him, you are sure he's going to bury it. And most times, and that's where I tell people about what I tell people about cup competitions. They are not like league format where you do a round rebound home and away.
Yes.
This is just more like the highest number of games to be played will be 7 games. So manage your 3 group stage matches. Try as much as you can, no matter how bad you are, you can make it as best loser. And then you get into the playoffs. Manage your game very well. And a team like Norway is very dangerous because they're the man that knows how to score the goal. So even if it's one chance, a KG encounter, and they have just one chance, give it to Erling Haaland. And most times it's very difficult for defenders to stop Erling Haaland. So when he puts it at the back of the net, it's done and dusted. So I won't be surprised if Norway eventually gets to the World Cup and makes it even up to the semi-finals of the World Cup. I won't be entirely surprised.
I mean, it's not far-fetched to say that. I mean, when you look at this Norwegian side, they've been hitting it red hot and they've been on form. But yeah, it's now the playoffs to be decided for the African scene. When these last games in the European qualifiers are done and dusted, if that group turns out that Italy wins that game, that means Italy would be level on points. It's now down to whether or not Italy can get that 9 goals. Which seems probably impossible at this point. And if that is the case, that means Norway booked the automatic tickets to the World Cup, while Italy would have to probably go through the playoff phases and see how they can get their own tickets stamped for what is ready for the World Cup. That's in Mexico, USA, and Canada. But we have to go on a quick break right now. Stay tuned for more on Afia Sport Show. Don't touch that dial. Alright, you're welcome back here to the Afia Sport Show. I am still your priest of football, Emeka Badoke, aka Femelo, and I'm still here with our queen of sports, Choma Chikeze. Once more again, as I we continue this conversation as we wrap up the show. Now it's time to go to the Spanish scene in football, and it's not the men this time around, it's the women. And the big vocal point from that discussion is the Classic, obviously. It is time for the women to now lock their horns. The men have done their job. There was a 2-1 affair there in favor of Real Madrid. Can the ladies of Barcelona now take revenge for the men? Giving the point now that it's 4 points at top of the table there for Barcelona. They're on 27 points against the 23 of Real Madrid's women there. And they are going to be facing up by 4 p.m. today. And that's at Barcelona's home ground. Now, the other fixtures that will be coming up as well. There's going to be Real Sociedad against Athletic Club. We're going to be having Granada versus Tenerife. You're going to be having we'll have Barcelona versus Madrid CFF. We have Elba versus Espanyol. We have Barcelona versus Real Madrid, the big vocal game for today. And we have Elba versus Levante that is going to be playing out. That was played out yesterday, rather. And that's how the table plans are there. FC Barcelona on top there with 27 points. 23 points for Real Madrid in second place there. With a huge gulf in goal difference between the two teams, rather. And when you're looking at the top three there, you also have Real Sociedad there, you have Atletico de Madrid in fourth, you have Costa de Tenerife, we have Madrid CFF in sixth rather, you have seventh place Sevilla, we have Badona women in eighth, Granada in ninth, Elba in 10th, Espanyol take the 11th place, 12th place is Athletic Club, Afia Home of Sport in 13th place, 14th place Deportivo Ablanca, and 15th place Dux Logrono.
Well, the Clásico for the women is going to be a beautiful one to watch. Let me even start from that. But it's going to be very dicey for the Real Madrid side. Looking at what happened in the first encounter of this very fixture and in October this year, they actually defeated Real Madrid at Real Madrid home. It ended 6-0 in favor of the Barcelona Femeni. So that's to tell you that somehow these ladies have an edge over the Real Madrid ladies. But if you look at generally in their last 5 games for the two sides now in all competitions, Real Madrid have managed 4 wins and 1 draw, while for the Barcelona Feminis, they've managed 4 wins and 1 loss, and then they actually lost to Real Sociedad. And if you look at the way these ladies play, I think they score a lot of goals. Talking about the Barcelona Femini side, and that's the team that has the Ballon d'Or winner for the female side, Aitana Bonmati. So that's to tell you a lot about the Barcelona side. They are actually, when you talk about women football globally, they are more like the predominant side, you know. So, and maybe the rivalry that exists between the male side, I don't think it transcends to the female now. It's not what we've seen in the ladies, because in the past number of matches, it's been the Barcelona side that have, you know, that have come out on top. So it's going to be a beautiful one to watch. But I think going by how these two sides have managed so far, maybe the Real Madrid Femini would up their game and see how they could, you know, try to snatch this one, maybe get a draw. But if we go by what they've done in the first leg of this same encounter, 6-0. I mean, a lot of people will not be giving the Real Madrid female a chance, considering that they are going away from home. I mean, you didn't win at your home. Is it at Barcelona home that you're going to do?
Coming down to the Barcelona Femini now, you give them an edge over this Real Madrid side.
Yes, I give them an edge over the Real Madrid side. I think
like I always like to do, I like to get predictions.
Predictions.
So do you think it's going to be a demolition here?
These girls score good. They score a lot of goals. I mean, their last game, they scored about, their last game in the Spanish Primera, they scored 8 goals to nothing against their opponents, and it's going to be difficult. But I think if Real Madrid are able to keep them and stop them from scoring, they shouldn't score anything less than 4 goals.
So if I'm getting it right,
maybe 4 goals to 2 in favor of Real Madrid, or 4-1 in favor of the Barcelona side. But surprises can happen. I mean, it's football and nothing is cast in stone.
Well, nothing is cast in stone. Well, away from the football scene, just before we wrap up this sport show here, and it's time for NBA.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, now, so let's jump straight into the Eastern Conference here. And from the playoffs there, we had the Detroit Pistons. They won their game 10-2 in the first bracket there. You have the Raptors again also getting a win there. We also had Celtics as well getting some good results there away from home in the match there. We had the Rockets as well. So let me just jump straight to the Western Conference as well so we can get some thoughts on what happened there. We had DKC getting some points there away. I think the game ended 110 to 115 in favor of them. Then they had the Rockets as well, getting a huge margin win of 140 over 101. We also had Lakers getting a vital win there as well. That was 148 to 122. And that's all from the Western Conference. Well, thank you, Choma Chikeze, for joining me today on the
Yeah,
Afia
thank you
Sports
so
Show.
much.
It's been a pleasure having you here.
It's
been a
always-
pleasure
always a
discussing all
pleasure.
about the Super Eagles and everything. And let's hope and fingers crossed that Osimhen gets the hat trick that you
He
mentioned
will.
earlier on.
Zoro of Africa does not disappoint.
Wow.
Yeah, he will get a hat trick.
Well, tomorrow by 8 p.m. we shall know whether Zoro of Africa, as they say, Osimhen would get those 3 goals that she claims that he will get. But thank you for joining us today. Thank you for the production team for doing a great job. Thank you for the floor members. Thank you again, Queen, for joining me. Thank you to the viewers for watching and staying tuned. Thank you, thank you. And I'm being your host for today, the Priest of Football, America Madoke, aka Femelo. And this is me saying goodbye.